You can't be anybody else except yourself. You can know the things that you are good at, and you can know the things you're not so good at. And with a little bit of luck and a little bit of effort, maybe, you can push the boundaries of both of those things.
Please welcome my friend and yours, Jack Gorham.
Thank you. So most of you, I think almost all of you, know what I do for a living. Junk. Buy junk, sell junk, store junk, curate junk, find a place for junk to live. That's what I do. I have been dealing with this one customer who has now, I think, brought me 3 groups of mostly toys. Washing machine. Right. What else was a really neat piece? Look at the detail on these 2 dollhouse radios.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Look at this one. This was a neat piece. A wastebasket with a little foot stopper. We had the telephone. I tell you what I do a lot of, Ken. I do a lot of cleaning, I do a lot of researching, and then pricing. And if you look at that in acronym form,
right,
that's a lot of crapping.
Yes.
Clean, research, and price. So I'm all the time doing that. I mean, is this appropriate or what? Yeah, since we're talking about it.
Yeah.
What's so funny is I will use the word junk to describe anything.
Yeah.
And at the shop, people will sometimes take offense. Oh, no, it's not junk, it's treasure. And I'm like, yeah, I get your point of view. Go through the shop and you take a look around. That's a big place, 35,000 square feet, right? And I'm just going to be very candid here and say, no one needs the first thing in there. Your life can go on smooth as could be without anything from that shop. So the shop is recreation. The shop is fun. The shop is the little spoils in life. It is frivolous and unnecessary, but it's kind of what makes some of us human. Mining households that are either being broken down or a person has died and the stuff needs to be elsewhere. It all comes from the thing of living. We spend a pretty good amount of our lives accumulating, and then we get to a point where you realize, why do I have all this stuff?
He casts off every morning, turns his key and sets sail. An endless sea of pavement, white lines and guardrails. The Junkman always got one eye fixed at the side of the road, never passing up a chance to add to his load. Well, he picks up bits and pieces that are left behind. Gotta find his orphans home again. And when he puts it all together in his weary mind, he knows his work will never end. He got them Junkman blues. He got them Junkman blues. Late into the evening, the summer sun goes down. He shuffles off to the woodshed with no one else around. And there he gathers up the collections of the day and brings them back to life using all the tricks of the trade. Where he picks up bits and pieces that have fallen apart and puts them back together again. As his day comes to a close, he finds himself at the start. He knows his work will never end. He got them Junkman blues. He got them Junkman blues.
Along the
way to Winston-Salem. My needle was dipping kind of low. I got off at the next exit and headed south down High Point Road. Not too far, there came a bend in the highway, a single pump in a cedar grove. I filled my ride and went to pay inside and found provisions for the soul. Now the day had been long, most things had gone wrong. Truth to tell, I still had work to do. But like a gift from above, sent on the wings of a dove, I heard music coming from a back room. And when I heard a lady say it would be okay, I turned a knob on that heavy door. I found 4 walls of cinder block that were fully stocked with provisions for the soul.
What made you originally think about being a music teacher?
Because I had no aptitude for anything other than music. And whereas my dream might have been to be Billy Joel,
It's 9 o'clock on a Sunday.
I knew what an insane long shot type of dream that would be.
Right.
So a degree in music education would let me kind of skirt around
Yeah.
all that stuff. Doing things on my own terms is kind of important
Yeah.
to me. It's like I'm not likely to conform to a particular set of steps.
So when did you start playing the piano?
Sometime in the 7th grade, my mom thought, all right, how about some piano lessons? Sure, take some piano lessons. So about 6 months in, she said to my mom, quit wasting your money because the kid's not practicing. So that was the end of piano lessons.
For the soul.
It wasn't playing the piano that you weren't interested in. It was learning to play the way Cleo wanted you to play it.
Or and not just Cleo, probably any
Yeah.
piano teacher.
Oh, and no any kind, the man read my mind and he showed me to the piano. I took my seat and my heart began to beat. Provisions for the soul.
Within a couple of months, I had a job as interim elementary school music teacher, and I felt like it was going pretty good. I did a unit that I thought was really cool about writing an opera, and that was to precede a field trip to go see an opera, and I think at the Carolina Theater in downtown Greensboro. I thought I had lined up the transportation properly, but apparently we took Carolina Theater by surprise. They were not expecting us.
And I'm guessing that you were not hired.
I was not hired in the fall.
Provisions for the soul. Our lyrics flowing over lips.
If you talk to Jen or any of my good friends, they know. The guy's got a general idea what's happening, but the specs, you can't trust him.
But I believe I've observed in many relationships, one person is kind of a project, thereby making the other, at the very least, a project manager. If not, maybe they're starting from scratch and they're really more like a carpenter. Now, I know what I am. And that's why I use the pronouns that I use. And the name of this tune is She's a Carpenter. His head was hewn from heart of pine, thick and dense, but the grain was fine. And she was hammering nails, bits and twine. She saw the potential and put in the time, 'cause she's a carpenter. She's a carpenter, baby.
Well, for one thing, the boy is never quiet. He's never quiet.
Soulless garbage, destined for a yard sale.
There's always a sound.
There's a woman to blame, leaving Savannah.
There's always a movement. There's always something.
Darling, you know it's love.
Unless he's writing music. He's pretty quiet when he's writing.
Does it at times feel like you're just the vessel?
Oh, yeah. There is a book out there, and I think it is called Big Magic, and it's by the same author of Eat, Pray, Love, whose name I can't think of. And there's a passage in that book that is about catching these songs that are flying through the air.
She's a carpenter, baby. Good with her hands, visions and plans. Give her some time.
There are times that I just want to go upstairs and read a book. I can turn the radio on in the kitchen. Often, I just like to listen to it.
She's gonna make you a man. 'Cause she's a carpenter. She's a carpenter.
You remember 2020? 2020 is when I realized a whole lot of things. One was how dependent I am on my songwriting groups. These songs get done, right? And often it gets done because I want to take something to a songwriting group and be part of that scene, and it's a lot of fun.
Not enough forever, and I think that I know why. 'Cause everybody wants it, so it's in such short supply, and so there's not enough built up to go around even once. I'll be okay, 'cause I'm not
thinking about that little angel sitting on my shoulder, wondering if what he told me was just a pack of lies. Wish there was a way that you could see how much I need you so desperately.
That being said, when I first played this for one of my groups, I got a critique. And the critique was from a really talented young writer. And she said, "You should really try writing a song you don't have to explain." She wasn't wrong.
After I graduated high school and was packing up to get ready to go to school.
And I was kind of thinking, this is cool. I'm not hating this pandemic so much if I get to keep Nate around. So I was in deep denial. And as the summer went on, I was like, I think he's going to stay. But then I came home from work one day and there were some boxes packed up in the living room by the fireplace.
I think what initiated it was my saxophone was in my pile of stuff that I was taking to school with me.
And there was Nate's saxophone in the pile. Oh man, that looks pretty serious. And that's where this song started. This is called Even in the Distance.
It means a lot to me, and he gave me like lines to play for the song. I still have not mastered it.
Boxes stacked by the fireplace, a silver sax packed in its case. Follow the tracks or the lines on my face. Even in the distance, I'll hear your melody play.
It meant a lot. It means that you are being seen, and it means that a part of you is always on his mind.
The days are endless till they're numbered. Count your breath between the lightning and the thunder. Look back where you started and wonder, could it really be so distant? Innocence shines like dew on the grass, and leaves with the sun before the morning will pass. What you gave to me will forever last, even in the distance. Even in the distance. Even in the distance. Even in the distance.
I recently picked up my saxophone again in like a while, and I tried playing it. It's gonna take more time though.
I don't really remember what other kids' dads did, but I know that they weren't working as an antique dealer.
Whenever my friends would come over and they would see many items up on the walls or on the piano and be like, there's just so much.
Our house feels like a museum sometimes to me. There's always something to look at. There always has been. Sunday afternoons are for pricing the junk. You're constantly moving junk out of the way to sit down in the car. He would often have to leave the kitchen like early to make sure that there is space for us all to sit in the car before he drove us to school. So it could be kind of embarrassing. The bed of his truck would be full. And here we are in the car rider line, like, please don't look at the junk in the back seat.
He just stopped the truck out of nowhere, and he just started loading these like antique window panes into the back of the truck. And he's like, "Oh, these are great." And to 15-year-old me, probably not even, I'm like, that's a trash window right there. It's Jack's world and we're living in it.
Music was always just such a big part of my family's life.
About in middle school, going with him to set up for gigs, got to be a little roadie.
He would have a solo or he'd play the piano and you get to hear all the, Jack, you're so wonderful, like, so great to hear you, so glad that you sang. And I'm like, oh, people like my dad. Like, that's kind of funny. He's just my dad. And I could find it annoying sometimes, like when I wanted to watch a show and there's constant music behind me. And I was lucky. I knew I was lucky because I had somebody to play music with me. But also I found it annoying at times for sure.
I'd wake up in the mornings, piano playing. My mom would drop me off, piano playing. Right after taking me home to school, go to my room, piano playing.
Sometimes you just want quiet. You had a rough day, or you just need to take a couple deep breaths, and the piano's just like reverberating through the floors of the house. It became like part of being home when it became background music. It's like when you hear the piano, you know you're at home.
There was always some noise going on, and after a while, I just got used to it. It became background noise, and it also became calming and became a sense of home.
When you start getting the songs written about you, that's also helpful too. Had sort of that like emotional experience of graduating, and he was there. It's sort of like you're in his history book now.
That was for me and my stepsister, who went to colleges on opposite ends of the state, me in Appalachian, and then Hannah in Wilmington. And Hannah had the last possible graduation time on a Friday, and I had the earliest possible graduation time on the Saturday. And so Jen and my dad drove across the state overnight, stayed in a hotel in Wilkesboro, and made it to my graduation.
So this was a Christmas present that I did get. Daughters Kaylee and Hannah. Real thought went into this. It's the lyrics to a song. And the first line of this really belongs to Hannah.
I can remember when Hannah had said that about summer coming overnight. I mean, it was the night before her graduation, and we were at a restaurant. It was just the three of us. And I think he pulled out his little pad of paper, and he wrote that comment down. And
summer fell from the sky overnight. The ocean set you on the shore. You filled your pockets full of stars and souvenirs. Caught your breath, crossed over the Cape Fear. Little one, where does it go? The sun holds the fiddle and the moon guides the bow. You may call the tune, but they keep the tempo. Little one, where does it go? Fare thee well to the Blue Ridge. You know goodbye's too hard a word. Your eyes are wide as you glide down your mountain one more time, for the last time. Little one, where does it go? The sun holds the fiddle and the moon guides the bow. You may call the tune, but they keep the tempo. Little one, where does it go?
Emotional. I tear up just thinking about it. I cry when he plays that song. It feels very special to have that song. It's just a beautiful expression of his love for us.
I hold on for all I'm worth as you dream between heaven and earth. Forever tethered you will be to this old man's sweet memory. Little one, where does it go? The sun holds the fiddle and the moon guides the bow. I called the tune, but they kept the tempo. Little one, where does it go?
How did that process of accepting that you're not going to be Billy Joel happen?
Good friends who were like, I like what you're doing. And personal satisfaction with what I create. Because I'm going to tell you, I write some damn good songs.
You do. You do.
Oh, little one, where does it go?
Look at that.
Oh, you guys.
And moved back down here where I'm originally from, and I was sitting in church and he was playing in church, and I went, what? I said, this guy plays at this church? And I said, I'll be back.
I think Jack is a dangerously wonderful combination of creativity and talent.
He's amazing.
Our neighbors, Jack and Jen, they are the best, and Jack is kind of good too.
When it comes to aspirations, there are so many, and it can be big things or little things. But I think what often looms largest in any context has to do with having a sense of contentment in the present. And that means a couple of things. What's in the past, you're comfortable with that. What's in the past is reconciled. You know, my debts are forgiven and I've forgiven my debtors. And then you've got to look ahead and have ideas about what you're doing in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You don't have to live every moment for those future years, but it needs to be acknowledged. And I think when you have those two things working, gives a person a chance to enjoy the present moment. And once you're able to live in a moment and be content with your life, that's success right there. And whether it's junk or music or family or friends or love or some kind of brilliant cocktail of all those things, that's the greatest aspiration for me, to have that ability to enjoy each moment, give respect to the past and respect to the future. I guess that is a life philosophy that I can latch onto anyway.
Pavement meets gravel, my bones start to rattle. The winding road flows through the pines, and reaching the clearing, the horizon now nearing, where sun warms the souls of the vines. Take a long look around, take a long look around. I need to be lost before I get found. Take a long look around. Resting at ease, the hills themselves breathe, and to that which I'm bound disappears. My vessel is filled and through music distilled, communion is shared as one hears. Take a long look around, take a long look around. I can't hear the silence without any sound. Take a long look around. Arms spread wide, pour out what's inside. Open your eyes. There's nothing left to hide. There is not a way any lens can survey the beauty of all that's been hewn by woman or man or divinity's hand. Yet I'll step to the echoing tune. Take a long look around. Take a long look around. By grace I am lost, and by grace I am found. Take a long, take a long, take a long, last look around.
All right, let's go give a listen.
Is this a bad idea here?
It might be.
It might be.